All right, we're getting started with our notes on simplifying radicals. Right here we have our radical hotline. Now this is a little corny, but I think it actually kind of works. This is just like I think it kind of works better if you almost think of it like the prime hotline, because this is just a list of the prime numbers. And the prime numbers, perfect, I appreciate you. The prime numbers that you want to use are 2 and 3 and 5. These prime numbers right here are the ones you're going to be using 95% of the time. I did talk in the last video on prime factorization that 7 does creep in there very rarely. And of course, there are more prime numbers, an infinite number of prime numbers, but these ones you just almost never use, right? So for example, 11 and 13 and 17, those are the first couple prime numbers, but like I'm saying, you're going to be using 2, 3, and 5 95% of the time, okay? Maybe you will use 7 on one question per worksheet. Okay, number 7 will be very rare. And 11, 13, 17, these are super rare and almost never ever used. Okay, now let's look at these questions. I want to simplify the radical. Oh, that's so easy. I go to Desmos, I type SQRT and get my square root. And then I just type the number in and I get an answer. Like the square root of 27, which is 5.19615242271. No way that is the answer that we're going to be writing down. Square root of 27 doesn't really work. 27 is not a perfect square. And so what we're going to try to do is figure out, instead of square rooting the whole thing, can we square root only part of this 27, right? The whole 27 is not perfect. Maybe a little bit of it is perfect, and we can just leave the extras inside. So that's our strategy. We're going to begin with prime factorization. We're going to use these numbers, 2, 3, 5, maybe 7. And we're going to try to break down these numbers. Starting with 27, we're going to go to Desmos. We're going to type 27 divided by, and we're going to just start with the 2. Does the 2 work? No, because I get a decimal. Okay, so try the 3. Does the 3 work? Yes. So we're going to break this up into 3 and 9. Because 27 is 3 times 9. Now, we don't need these numbers on top of the triangle ever again. So I'm just going to cross off that 27. And this number 9 is not prime. It is not a 2 or a 3 or a 5. So I'm going to break down this 9. Does 9 divide by 2? Nope. Does 9 divide by 3? Yes. 9 does divide by 3. It's going to be 3 and 3. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and get rid of any number that's on top of the triangle because I don't need those numbers anymore. And what you can see is that now I have 3, that's prime. 3, that's prime. And 3, that's prime. I have now all prime numbers. And in fact, we talked about this in the last video on prime factorization. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. That's where we originally started for this question. 3 times 3 times 3 is like 27 when you break all the Legos apart. Okay, so what we have right now is the prime factorization. But remember, our goal is to take the square root of 27. So, we're going to take just a quick pause for a second, and I'm going to go a little bit off the deep end and show you guys something crazy. You guys know I can go a little bit wild here. Here's what we got. This is going to really blow your mind. Here's what we got. We got a piece of paper. This word, it's getting harder to see as the day goes on, I guess. This word is prison. Okay? We got jail going on here. Okay? And in this jail, we have a barbed wire fence. You guys see my fence right here? And on top of that fence, we got barbed wire. So here's what's going to happen. There are going to be people inside the jail, right? So check this out. We got some homies in there, some people in there. Excellent. Okay? Inside the prison, we got all kinds of people in here. Okay? Now, here's the thing. They're not very happy to be in prison. All right? And so what they're going to try to do is escape. Now, in order to escape, you have to have a partner. You have to have a buddy. You have to have a partner in crime so that you can break out. And so the first thing is that people are going to try to get partners. Okay? So these two blue people, they can be partners. These two green people right here, they can be partners. Does this orange person have any partners? No. Even though there's a pink person here, this orange person does not have a partner. That means this orange person is not going to break out of jail. They're going to have to stay right here. What about the pink person? Do they have a partner? No. They're also going to have to stay in jail. So these two people are going to stay. But blue crew and green crew, they're going to try to break out. All right? In order to break out of prison, they're going to team together. They're going to try to distract the guard, and they're going to try to get over the barbed wire fence. But here's what happens every time. Trust me, I promise there's a math reason that we're learning this. The blue people, when they try to escape, one of them is going to get over the barbed wire fence and get out of jail, and they're free. The other one, unfortunately, is going to get caught by the guards, is going to get stuck in the barbed wire fence, and unfortunately, dead.
Yay.
Crazy, right? They tried to break out, they didn't make it. And that will always happen. Green will try next. They'll try to break out of jail. Yo, get out of here. Yo. Every time, one person will get out. Now, I heard somebody very secretly and quietly say, what is he talking about in the back? And I don't blame you because I'm going a little crazy there. Here's what's going on, okay? We have, right now, 3 and 3 and 3, okay? And you can imagine that all 3 of these people, right now, are inside of the square root. Or in other words, they're inside of the jail or the prison. In order to break out of this jail, you have to have a partner. And so, if I look at these 3s right here like this, these 2 3s, they can work together and they can try to escape prison. And when they try to escape, when they try to break out and get to the other side, one of them is going to make it out, but one of them is not going to make it out. So, our final answer for this question, it seems weird because all of a sudden we're writing our final answer, is going to be 3 square root 3. Now, write that down and let me explain to you where that comes from. We broke it down into 3 3s. These 3 3s, if you can get a buddy of the same number, you can try to break out of jail. But whenever you do that, only one of those 3s actually makes it out, and the other one just kind of dies and doesn't make it out. Okay? Now what happened is this 3, which has no buddies and no partner, he just has to stay in jail because he doesn't have any teammate to try to escape with. And so that's why this green 3 made it to the outside. He's out here. And that's why this 3 just had to stay in jail the whole time and just hang out right there. Okay, that was one question. We took it super slow. We over-explained it. I did some kind of ridiculous analogy. So here we go. Let's do number 2. First of all, we got to break it down. If you're starting to get distracted, if you're starting to get sleepy, I know it's the first day back from spring break. Here we go. 24. We're going to break 24 down. We're just going to use Desmos. We're going to use the numbers 2, 3, and 5. 24 divided by 2. Does that work? Yes. So we're putting 2 and 12. 2 times 12. I can get rid of the 24 because it's not prime. What about 12? I'm going to go to Desmos. 12 divided by 2. Does that work? Yes. It's 6. So I'm going to split this up. 2 times 6. I can get rid of the 12 because it's not prime. Then I'm going to look at that 6. Does 6 divide by 2? Yes. So I'm going to put 2 times 3. I can get rid of that 6 because it's not prime. And now stop, because 3 is a prime number. We don't have to keep going. We got to the end. This time, the numbers that we've got are 2 and 2 and 2 and 3. Okay? So what we've got, you don't have to rewrite this every time like we did last time. A lot of times, we'll just stop right here. Step 1 is done. Step number 2, do we have any pairs or any partners? Does this 2 have any buddies that he can partner up with to try to escape? Yes. So these 2, circle them. Okay. Move on to the next number. Does this 2 at the bottom have any other 2s that they can buddy with? No. This 2 right here is going to have to stay in jail. What about the 3? Does this 3 have any partners to buddy up with? Of course not, right? No, no, no. He's going to have to stay in jail. So we're going to draw our little square root. The 2s are going to try to break out. But remember, the whole reason I did this prison thing is that only one of those 2s actually makes it out. And a very common mistake is that people will try to say that both of these 2s make it out. But only one makes it out and escapes. So this is going to put one of the 2s on the outside. One of them is going to end up dying, unfortunately. And we're going to have 2 that escaped. And on the inside, we have 2 and 3. These are going to stay. Now, if you've got multiple people that are staying, you're always going to use multiplication. It is always going to be, we're not going to be adding anything all day. So we're not going to be adding anything all week, actually. 2 times 3 makes 6. And this is the answer. Now, I kind of said, before we started, this is brand new stuff. This is kind of like alien math because it seems like we're just doing random stuff. But what we're doing is we're trying to find a piece of the 24 that we can square root and let the other pieces that aren't perfect just stay inside the square root. Okay, I'm going to do this last one, and I'm going to try to pick up the pace a lot, and then I'm going to get you guys involved a bit and start calling your names and seeing if you know what's going on. So, 32. Does 32 divide by 2 or 3 or 5? 32 divided by 2 is 16. Split it up, 2 times 16. Then I'm going to work with that 16, and I'm going to split it up. Does 16 divided by 2? Yeah. What do you get? 8. 8. So I'm going to put 2 and 8. And I'm going to keep going until I end up with a 2 or a 3 or a 5. All right, see if you can keep going with that a little bit and get all the way to the prime factorization. You okay? You want to try breaking down the 32 with me? All right. Like I said, I know your body is like, I need food, please. Did anybody break down this 8? What'd you get? 2 times 4. Anybody break down that 4? I'm sure it gets pretty easy at this point. What is 4? 2 times 2. Now, remember, all of these numbers on top of the triangles, we don't need them because they're not prime. The only numbers we work with are 2, 3, 5. So 32, 16, nope. 8, nope. 4, nope. The only ones I'm working with are 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Now, step number 2, this is the easy step. Just circle anything with partners. This 2 has a partner right here. This 2 has a partner right here. But this last 2, he does not have a partner. He has to stay. There's no way he's breaking out. You have to have a buddy if you want to break out. Draw the square root. Leave this guy on the inside. He's staying. We're going to have one of them break out. But remember, only one of them breaks out because the other guy gets stuck in the barbed wire. Then this guy tries to break out. Another 2. But this one doesn't make it. For every circle, only one gets to come out. Now, because we have 2 circles, we end up with 2 things on the outside, and you always multiply them. So 2 and 2 makes 4. And that is our final answer. All right. Now, before the very last thing I want to show you before it's just a couple of practice questions and then we're done, okay? This probably feels like, Mr. Collier, you've officially gone crazy. I don't know what happened to you over spring break, but you lost your mind. And it feels like I'm just making this stuff up. But this question asked me about the square root of 32. And the answer that we came up with was 4 square root 2. And do you notice anything about these decimals? They're the same thing, okay? This is not random math that I'm making up. This does actually work, okay? What happened is this 32, it has this extra 2 that just doesn't work. That extra 2 is just kind of messing us up. But the other pieces, the pieces that we got to circle, these pieces are perfect squares. And so we have a little bit that's perfect and a little bit that's not, and that's why we end up with some of it outside and some of it inside. Okay, now, speeding it up a little bit. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to our favorite random number generator. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 people. I'll be number 16. And we're going to be splitting this up. And I need something super easy from you guys. If your name gets called, just type in the number like 60, hit divide, and just try 2 or 3 or 5. That's all you got to do. So let's start here. The first question is about 60. Person number 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Andrew, that's you. Andrew, can you take 60 and divide it by 2 or 3 or 5 and tell me what you get? Okay, and what do you get? 30. That's it. Excellent job, Andrew. Nice job. 30 is not prime. I'm going to keep going until I get a 2 or 3 or 5. Nice job, Andrew. Let's go person number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Janiyah, that's you. Janiyah, can you take 30 and divide it by 2? What do you get? 15. Excellent. You rock, Janiyah. Proud of you. Way to go. 15, we're going to keep going because it's not a 3 or a 5 or a 2. And so with 15, person number 1, Jamil, how you feeling? Not so great. I'll help him out. 15 divided by 2 doesn't work. 3 does work. It's a 5. Okay, so I'll split it up to a 3 and a 5. And at this point, stop. Because we got to a 3 or a 5 or a 2 at the end. I don't need any numbers on top of the triangle. So I'm not working with 60 or 30 or 15. I'm only working with the prime numbers, 2, 3, 5. Now with these numbers, I'm going to circle any pairs. I see that I have a pair of 2s. Do I have pairs of 3s? Nope. So this guy right here, he's got to stay. He doesn't get to try to break out. What about this 5? He's got to stay. He doesn't get to break out. I'm going to draw my square root. The 2 is going to break out, but only one of them makes it. So make sure you only put one outside. On the inside, 3 and 5 stay. What number should be on the inside? What is it? It's a 3 and a 5. And 3 and 5 multiply to make 15. So it's going to be a 15 on the inside. That is the final answer. So first, break it down, circle your pairs. The pairs go outside, the leftovers stay inside. Okay. One more question you're going to help me with. We got 128. Just use Desmos. Hit 128 question mark and divide it by 2 or 3 or 5. Person number 15, which is Misair, can you divide this number in half?
Sure.
128.
2 and 64.
2 and 64. Nice job, Misair. That was a big number and you handled it no problem. Person number 14, right in front. Do you know what 64 is? Can you break that down? He was right.
Yeah.
Even though he spoiled your fun. 2 and 32. Again, if you're not sure, you just go to Desmos and you just type the number, divide, and you just try 2 or 3 or 5. All right, person number 3, which is Marcos. Marcos, 32. Can you cut that number in half?
Yes.
What do you get? 16. Perfect. And what you'll notice is that this gets kind of repetitive, okay? You'll be like, oh, 16? We already did 16. Literally, question number 3 is 32, and we're going to do the same exact thing right here with 32. It's 16, which is 2 times 8, which is 2 times 4, which is 2 times 2. The same exact part as number 3. Okay, I don't need any of these numbers on top of the triangle. I'm going to use the 2 and the 2 and the 2. And I've got 3 circles this time with 1 left over. He's going to have to stay in. He's not breaking out. But we're going to have 3 different people try to break out. One of them's going to make it. One of them's going to die. One of them's going to make it. One of them's going to die. One of them's going to make it. One of them's going to die. And so here's what we got. This 2 right here, he's got to stay inside. He's the only one. He's chilling on the inside. On the outside, we have 1 2 that made it out, another 2 that made it out, and a third 2 that made it out. And with these numbers, we're going to multiply them all together.
What is it? 8?
Right. So what is 2 times 2 times 2? Is it 6 or is it 8? I heard both. 2 times 2 times 2. This is like an Algebra 1's worst nightmare. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So the 8 goes out front, and it goes right here. All right, here's what we got. We're skipping number 6. If you did it, I'm proud of you. The answer is 40 square root 2 or something. Number 7, here's what we want to do. For number 7, I see 484. And I'll just work through this one. We'll just go quickly. So what is 484? Does it divide by 2? Yes, 242. This is a big number. 2 and 242. Then I'm going to work with 242. What is 242 divided by 2? 121. I'm just going to keep going. Then 121. Now what is 121 divided by 2? Doesn't really work. What about 3? Doesn't really work. Remember, the numbers are 2, 3, 5. 5 doesn't work either. So we got to try these other ones, like 7. What is happening here? Now, don't forget, what is 121? We've heard this number before. 121 is a perfect square root. 121 is 11 times 11. So, this question still has one more trick up its sleeve. Okay? I don't need the numbers on top of the triangles. We're going to be done in 30 seconds here. I want to circle my pairs. I see that we have 2 and 2. That makes a buddy system. I see that we have 11, 11. That makes a buddy system. Do we have any leftover numbers that are going to have to stay on the inside? No. Everybody's got a pair, which means everybody's going to escape. Now, how did that happen? How did we end up with a question that has no leftover numbers that are going to stay behind? It's because this question asked us, what is the square root of 484? And guess what? 484 is a perfect square root right from the start. Okay? So 484 is already perfect. You don't have to do this process that we just did of breaking it down. If you notice early enough, or if you try it before you start and you see 22, that's the answer. The answer is just 22. Now, where do you think 22 comes from if I've got a 2 and an 11? 2 times 11 makes 22, right? So our process of doing this does work. If you ever get to a question where you don't have any extra numbers, that means it was a perfect square right from the start. Okay, we've done these questions. Remember, it's definitely a little bit crazy. It definitely feels like alien math a little bit. Break it down into the primes. Find your pairs. The pairs come outside. The leftovers stay inside, right? It's like you're at the prison and then you got a couple of people in there and then 2 people decide that they're going to buddy up. They're going to try to escape. One of them's going to make it out. One of them, unfortunately, is going to get stuck. And poor guy didn't make it. Got caught in the barbed wire. Absolutely tragic. All right, that's it. Lunchtime. We're not doing anything till after lunch. You're going to have some classwork on this. Good job.